Hi guys, welcome back to Spelling and Word Study. My name is Mrs. Rhoades and I'm here to get you started on Unit 21, long O, with the patterns OLD, OLT, and OST. Please take a second to gather your materials. You will need your teal book open to page 131. You will also need some colorful pens, markers, or crayons. Remember, whatever I mark up on my board, you should be marking on your page. Please save room for a key as well. If at any point I'm moving too fast, please pause the video and catch up. All right, so we have spent several weeks now learning about long vowels. We know there are 5 long vowel sounds: A, E, I, O, and U, or sometimes oo. We learned how to make a long A by using vowel teams like AY and AI. We learned how to make long E by using vowel teams like EE and EA. Over the last few weeks, we have been focused on long O. We learned that you can make the O sound in the middle of a word by using the OA vowel team. And at the end of a word like bow or flow or snow, we can use the OW. So today I want to show you a few more patterns we can use to make that long O sound. Now what I want you to notice is that all of our words this week start with a consonant, but more importantly they have the letter O followed by 2 consonants. 2 consonants, 2 consonants. Do you see that? Now, most of the time, when you see a vowel followed by 2 consonants, the vowel is going to be short. So for instance, in the word fast, vowel, 2 consonants, the A is short. Or a word like lift, vowel, 2 consonants, the vowel is short. Well, that's not the case with the letter O. Sometimes in a word like pond, you're going to see the short O followed by 2 consonants. But most of the time, if O is followed by 2 consonants, it's going to make a long O sound. So we'll go into that in a little more depth. But first, let's read our list. Please repeat after me, and as you do, listen for that O sound. Bolt, both, cold, fold, hold, mold, most, post, sold, and told. Okay, you heard that O sound over and over, right? All right, so let's figure out what kinds of consonants we have to put after the O to make that long O sound. Let's start here with the LT in the word bolt. That O is long. Now, quick look. I don't see that anywhere else on our list, but we do have other words in our language, words like colt and molt and volt that follow that same pattern. So keep in mind that when you see OLT, it's going to have a long O sound. Okay, now here's an interesting one. We have O followed by TH. Both means 2, right? I have 2 hands and both of them are waving right now. So in this case, we have a long O. But there are many other words like moth and froth, and I wrote some down, broth, cloth, where the O is short. So in this case, though, in the word both, we have OTH making a long O sound. But just memorize that, because in any other example, OTH is going to make the ah sound. Okay, let's choose another pattern. Check this out. When O is followed by LD in words like cold or fold, hold, or mold, sold, or told, you're going to have a long O sound. This is a really good pattern to memorize. You're going to get a lot of bang for your buck, as they say. Okay? And honestly, I can't think of any exceptions to that rule. So pretty much whenever you see OLD, you're going to make a long O sound. Just like in the word old, by the way. Old, gold, I could keep going, okay? So when you see that OLD pattern, remember the O is long. Okay, and then we have one more. When O is followed by ST, it will often take on a long O sound. You'll see that in the word most and post, okay? You won't see that in words like cost or lost or frost, right? So this pattern only works about 50% of the time, right? The OTH, almost never. The OLD, all the time. OST, about half the time. Sometimes it'll say ost. Sometimes it'll say ost. Okay? But for today's list, anything in an orange box is going to make the long O sound. Okay? So, 4 different ways to make a long O. Notice none of our words this week contain a bossy E. None of them contain a vowel team. It's just a combination of consonants that for whatever reason, when they show up after the O, they make the O long. Okay, what I want to do next is I want to go through the list, and as I do, we're going to look for verbs, we're going to look for adjectives, and we're going to look for nouns. Okay, those are 3 parts of speech that we've talked about so far this year. So let's look for verbs first. Those are things we can do, right? Bolt. Well, you can bolt out of the room, right? If you're in a hurry to get somewhere, you can bolt. It means you run out really fast. So that is a verb. You can't both and you can't cold, but you can fold. You can fold napkins, you can fold laundry, you can fold a piece of paper. You can definitely hold stuff. You can hold hands, you can hold a baby. Things can mold, right? They can get moldy, but also you can take clay and mold it into different shapes. So there's a verb. You can't most. You can post things. You can post things online on social media, right? If people have exciting news to share, they might post it online so other people can see it. Sold and told are both verbs, but they're the past tense, right? Now I sell you a glass of lemonade. Yesterday I sold you a glass of lemonade. So sold is the past tense of sell. Told is also a verb. Now I tell you a story. Yesterday I told you a story. Okay? So anything with a blue V next to it is a verb. All right, let's look for some adjectives now. Remember, adjectives are describing words. So both is an adjective. I am holding up both hands, right? It means I'm holding up two hands. I am describing how many hands I'm holding up. Cold is an adjective, right? If you go outside and feel the cold air, well, that's describing the air. Fold and hold and mold are not adjectives, but most is. If I say I finished most of my dinner, I'm describing how much of the dinner I ate. I think that's it. So anywhere I put a green ADJ, I have an adjective. All right, let's look for nouns now. Nouns now. So people, places, and things. Like bolt. I told you that you can bolt. You can run out really fast. But you can also have a bolt. If you go to the fabric store like Joann's or Michael's, you can get a bolt of fabric. That's what they call a unit of fabric. If you go to the hardware store, near where they have all the screws and nails, you will find bolts, nuts, and bolts. So those are little metal pieces that hold furniture together. So that would be a bolt, okay? So also, I just thought of this, a lightning bolt would be another noun. So lots of noun meanings for bolt. Cold, I know I said it was an adjective, a describing word, but it can also be a noun. If you have a bad cold, that's a thing. Fold, I guess you could use it as a noun if you talk about the fold, right? Like you iron something so that the fold is straight. So that's the place where things bend. That would be the fold. Mold can be a noun if you're talking about that green stuff that grows on rotten bread. That would be mold. Post, yes, you can post things online, but then they become a post. So whatever's written on there online is a post. Or we could talk about a goal post, a fence post, so something that sticks up out of the ground. And that's it for nouns, okay? So all of our words this week are either nouns, verbs, or adjectives, and some have more than one part of speech. Well, today, when you get to page 135, you're going to learn about a fourth type of speech. You know how adjectives describe a noun? Well, we have words that describe verbs. They add detail to the verbs, and they are called adverbs. An adverb adds detail to a verb. That's how I remember it, okay? So if you think of the word cold, right? Yes, I know, like your hands can be cold, but also a person can be cold if they're not very friendly. They might use a cold tone of voice, right? They might speak to you coldly, okay? Get over here, she said coldly, right? Coldly describes how she talked. Here's a word you know, right? We could say the traffic was slow. All the cars moved slowly. When I take "ly" and I add it to slow, I change my adjective to an adverb. Here's another word you might know. Bold. If you are bold, you are brave, right? So maybe there's a mouse running around your kitchen and nobody wants to catch it, and you step up boldly and say, I'll get the mouse, right? So if you do something boldly, you do it in a bold way. So when you get to page 135, you're going to add ly to these words. You're going to change cold to coldly, bold to boldly, slow to slowly, kind to kindly, light to lightly, and shy to shyly. Then you'll have your own word bank that you just made, and you will use those words to fill in the sentences on the bottom. Okay? I'm sure you guys will do great with that. All right, I think that's all I have for you. I did just quickly want to go back and remind you on page 134, when you're taking your words and changing the part of speech, you do have sell, which becomes sold, and tell, which becomes told. Okay, the other ones follow the rules. All right, that's all I have for you today. Good luck, and I will see you next time.